Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carolyn Stern, and I manage outreach for the Center for Hearing Communication. And I'm happy to be here today. And I just wanted to give Dr. Platia a moment to introduce herself as well.
Hi, everyone. I'm an audiologist at the Center for Hearing and Communication. I provide comprehensive audiological evaluations for mainly adults and teenage populations. I also provide hearing aid evaluations, fittings, counseling, and consultations, as well as auditory processing disorder evaluations. And I work a lot with Carolyn as part of our senior outreach program.
Thank you. I also just wanted to mention briefly that in addition to being really passionate about helping people with hearing loss or those who live with individuals or are close or communicate frequently with someone with a hearing loss, I'm really passionate about helping make communication better, help people hear better. So I hope you find today's session informative. And I also do live with a hearing loss myself. I'm considered deaf at this point in my life, and I have cochlear implants that are sort of like a hearing aid, but it also has an internal component that's implanted surgically. So I empathize with the condition. So please, again, feel free to put any questions in the chat and we'll be happy to answer them at the end of the session, or if it makes sense to address it while we're in the middle of talking. Okay. So today we're just going to spend a little bit of time introducing you to our organization. We could be a very valuable resource for you. We want to discuss all the different features of hearing aid technology that you need to consider, as well as other assisted devices that are out there that can work with a hearing aid or separately to help you function better in a variety of different environments. We're going to cover also low-cost options that are going to soon be available on the market, as well as how to stay safer in your home using various devices and apps, and other solutions that can help you enjoy everything that New York City has to offer when you're out and about, going to the theater and restaurants. Okay, a little bit about who we are, if you're not already familiar with us. We are a nonprofit hearing health agency. We focus on hearing rehabilitation. We've been around for many, many years. People used to know us, may know us as the New York League or the League for the Hard of Hearing. We changed our name about several years ago to Center for Hearing Communication, and our nickname is CHC, so you might hear us referring to the agency as CHC. Our mission is to empower individuals and their families with hearing loss, deafness, and listening challenges. And our vision is that these individuals who are coping with this issue can live a life without any limits when it comes to communication. We work with individuals one-on-one. Every situation, everyone's hearing loss is unique, and your lifestyle is different from others. So we work individually with you to really understand your situation and match solutions that fit your lifestyle, your budget, your tech understanding, comfortability with technology, we really want to make sure that you're successful, and we know that that takes some time and sometimes adjustments along the way. We have 4 clinical departments: audiology, where Shelby works, that does hearing testing, hearing aid evaluations, fittings. We also have a department that focuses on repairing hearing aids, and any issue that comes up with that, technology-wise, they can help you. We have walk-in hours during the week, as well as appointment hours, which clients love because things happen and it's very difficult to be without your hearing aid if it's not working well. We have a speech language and speech pathology department that helps individuals with hearing loss and deafness make use of any residual hearing they may have with their hearing aids to really improve their listening skills. We have speech reading courses as well to help people improve their ability to read the lips and facial expressions and lip movement to enhance their comprehension. And we have an emotional health and wellness department which is really a wonderful group of professional counselors, psychologists, social workers, and psychiatrists that can help individuals and their families with any degree of hearing loss. And our counselors are also fluent in sign language if that's relevant for your communication mode. And we have an education department that helps young children, infants, toddlers, all the way through young adulthood with educational pursuits for to be successful in life with their education, and how what support they may need to be successful in the classroom. And finally, outreach is an example of what we're doing today, where we reach out to the community and educate on the importance of addressing hearing loss and all the different solutions out there. So check us out. We're located on 50 Broadway downtown, and we also offer our services through telehealth as well, through phone and video. So I'm going to hand it over to Shelby now, who will take you through technology for hearing loss.
Okay, so I am going to talk about advancements in hearing aid technology. Even just over the last couple of years, last 4 or 5 years, hearing aids have really significantly advanced. You may know someone who started using hearing aids 10, 15 years ago, and the technology just does not compare to what it can do today compared to, again, what it has done the last 10, 15 years. One of the major advancements has been Bluetooth connectivity enabled hearing aids, where the hearing aids now can connect to different devices like smartphones, tablets, and they can also connect to different intermediary devices that can be used along with the hearing aid technology to allow for connection to things like TVs, older phones like flip phones, and other things that I will be discussing in just a brief moment. Another advancement is the implementation of directional microphones in hearing aids, which has significantly helped improve communication in background noise, which is more often than not the #1 complaint of individuals with hearing loss. Many will say that even with their hearing aids on, they have a very difficult time communicating in environments like restaurants, family functions where there may be multiple speakers at one time. Music can be playing on in the background. So with the addition of directional microphones, the hearing aids now are better able at analyzing the environment you're in, trying to pick up what is speech information, and then trying to decrease some of the background noise to allow for better access to speech. As I mentioned, hearing aids are now made for smartphones, and many of the manufacturers, the hearing aid manufacturers, have come out with their own apps that you are able to connect to, so that way you can make your own personal adjustments. You'll be able to control the volume, various programs if you have on the hearing aids. And one feature that has been very helpful, especially now during the pandemic, is a feature called Find My Hearing Aid, where if you allow location services on to be able to track the location of your hearing aid, if you were to drop the hearing aid, or if you forgot it at home and you weren't sure where you lost it, you would be able to check the app and find its location. My Nana had lost her hearing aid last summer, and thankfully she was connected to her app on her tablet, and we found it in her garden, in the weeds of her garden. And there's no way we would have been able to find it if she didn't have that feature enabled. Additionally, many hearing aids now are rechargeable. They come with a rechargeable option, and it's convenient, especially for older adults who may have issues changing very tiny batteries. It can be cumbersome because more often than not, you have to change the batteries every 5 days on average, depending on how much you're using the hearing aids, how much you're streaming. So now you can just plop the hearing aids in at night, charge them while you're sleeping, and then when you wake up, you're ready to go. I'm also going to talk about some assistive listening devices. And hearing aids are very beneficial. They are designed to help reduce the listening effort in many different environments. But hearing aids are not a cure for hearing loss. And this is something that we always tell our clients, that you cannot expect to always perform 100% with hearing aids, even if they are the best hearing aids available, even if they're programmed perfectly for you. There still may be some environments where you struggle in and where you may need additional help to communicate. So this is the purpose of these assistive listening devices, is to try to tackle different areas where you may be struggling, to give you that added boost. These accessories include FM devices, which allows for direct connection to an FM device, and can be used in many different areas. If you see at the bottom right of the screen, that is called a Roger pen, and it's a specific FM device that can be used, where if you're in a one-on-one situation, or let's say you're at a lecture and someone is speaking, you would be able to give that device to the person who is speaking, and their voice would be picked up and sent directly to your hearing aids. So that kind of takes away any issues with distance or background noise, especially if individuals are wearing masks. It can be very helpful. Other FM devices can be used for in a roundtable setting, like if you were at work or if you were frequently in meetings and had trouble hearing multiple different speakers sitting around a table. You can actually use an FM device that picks up more of your general area, and again, sends it directly to the hearing aids. Now, FM devices can be quite expensive. So for some people, they tend to go with a remote mic, which is a similar device where it has a feature to be able to kind of serve as a microphone, where you would give someone the remote mic and they would be able to speak directly into it, and it would increase the sound and go directly to the hearing aids. This is very good for, again, more so one-on-one situations. I like to give my clients examples where if they are trying to communicate in a car, which can be very difficult because if one individual is driving, they can't turn their head to see, try to read lips and try to see what the other person is saying. So you can actually use this device to pick up the voice better. Another example is if you are, let's say, doing chores around the house and you're in the same room, but maybe you're facing away from each other and it's very difficult to hear even with the hearing aids on. That's another great way or a reason to use the remote mic. Many remote mics also come with a feature to raise and lower the volume of the hearing aids, and also change program if that's needed. The accessory for the television kind of serves a similar purpose, where if you have a TV adapter, you would be able to hook it up to your TV. And most manufacturers have a number where you can call and they can walk you through the setup depending on your specific model and your hearing aids. And then what the TV device does is it will send the sound directly from the TV to your hearing aids. This can be a big source of contention for many family members or individuals that individuals with hearing loss may be living with. It's very common for people to say, I need the TV much louder, and my significant other or my family member says it's too loud, you need to turn it down. So this can be very helpful. So that way you can listen to the television at the level that is needed for you to be able to hear it, and your family member can listen to it at a comfortable level as well. Other devices include intermediary devices to connect to other Bluetooth compatible devices, like your phone, like your computer. More and more people are using Zoom now than ever because of the pandemic. And that's been a big issue for people, is to be able to hear effectively on their computer through the speaker. And there are devices that you can get where you can actually connect to the computer and then use an intermediary device like the remote mic pictured in the middle of the screen. And that sends direct sound to your hearing aids. And lastly, there are phone streamers that can be used. Phone streamers are kind of becoming a little bit outdated now because of how many hearing aids are now made for smartphone and Android, for iPhone and Android. But if you are someone who has an older model phone, a flip phone, or just a non-compatible smartphone device, you would be able to get a phone streamer that, again, would connect to the hearing aids and then to your phone as well. And you would be able to listen to phone calls and speak directly through the hearing aids. Okay, there are also newer, lower cost options emerging. And this is a big issue for individuals because, as we all know, hearing aids are quite expensive, and there are not, some insurances will offer hearing aid benefits, but not all insurances cover the cost of hearing aid devices. Some things that you have to be wary of is that they may have limited options and fit, meaning that, they may have options that work financially for you, but it may not work for your specific type of hearing loss or your specific communication needs. So it's something that to be very wary of, because we see many people who come in and say, they got these lower cost options, but they expected this device to do A, B, and C. And it's just due to the limitations of the device that it's just not possible. There are also over-the-counter hearing aids that are anticipated to come out in fall of 2022. I am going to talk a little bit more about them in the next slide. I will bring that up a little bit more in case some of you are familiar, or if none of you have heard it, then we can discuss that a little bit further. And then there are also consumer electronic brands that offer hearing devices. This slide has not been updated as of today, but I know, we have Bose and Google on there. Bose actually came out today and said that they are not going to be selling hearing aids from here on out, or they will eventually stop selling hearing aids altogether. So please excuse that that's still on the slide. But there are other electronic brands like Apple who offer different hearing solutions with their AirPod Pros, and just many different options out there. But again, it's very important to acknowledge that it may work for you financially, but it may not work for your communication needs or your hearing loss. So we always recommend to get a hearing test from an audiologist, find out what they recommend, and then you have more information to kind of make the best decision possible. Okay, so the over-the-counter hearing aids, this has been in the works for quite some time now. Unfortunately, things got delayed due to the pandemic, and the FDA had a lot of other pressing matters to address first. But it is still pending FDA approval. But they are a new self-fit category of over-the-counter hearing aids that are regulated by the FDA. So far, their proposed rules is that in order to be considered a candidate for this OTC hearing aid, you must have a perceived mild to moderate hearing loss. You must be of the age 18 or older. It would be available online or in retail stores, possibly like CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid. As of right now, they are not requiring a hearing test. But again, a hearing test is highly, highly recommended because you need to see if on paper you are a candidate for this type of device. It kind of goes back to what I said before, how you may financially, it may be a good option for you, but if you are not considered a candidate based on the significance of your hearing loss, then you could be purchasing a device that you will not benefit from. Additionally, when you go for a hearing test, if the audiologist may make a recommendation to follow up with an otologist or an ear, nose, and throat doctor, in case there are any possible contraindications of being fit with hearing aids, and then thus getting medical clearance for amplification. One caveat of this is that some products will require a smartphone for setup and controls. And again, this is a self-fit hearing device. So if you are someone who either does not have a smartphone, or if you're just someone who, not necessarily tech savvy, it can be very difficult to operate and manage these devices. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. And unfortunately, we don't have all that information about the different products or warranties or different things like that, because this has not been on the market yet. But again, these are just the proposed guidelines through the FDA. And just to make everyone aware, in case you are not, Medicare and Medicaid both cover hearing tests. So, if you're concerned about the cost of hearing devices, we still recommend that you follow up and get a comprehensive hearing evaluation, so that way you can get the appropriate recommendations. And that is something that most insurances will cover.
Okay, thank you. So what we wanted to, Shelby, I'm just wondering at this point, someone had asked, what about worse than moderate for low cost options in the fall? Is there anything coming out for more significant hearing losses?
Unfortunately, there is not. In terms of the OTC hearing aids, it's just for perceived mild to moderate hearing loss. If you are someone who has a worse than moderate hearing loss, then that's something that you should follow up with an audiologist to, again, get the appropriate recommendations. And some insurances, someone else just wrote in the chat right now that Medicaid was able to cover their hearing devices. Some insurances will offer a hearing aid benefit. So if it's something that you haven't looked into, I highly recommend that you contact your insurance, see what exact benefits you have, and also see what facilities offer that benefit. You may have a hearing aid benefit, but you may not be able to go to every single clinic and use up that benefit. So, some insurances will offer a benefit. Some may only offer you to get one hearing aid as opposed to two. So there can be different stipulations with the coverage that your insurance offers. But that's why we always recommend to, contact your insurance, follow up for a hearing test, and then the audiologist will also better able to guide you in terms of what kind of benefit you could use at that specific facility.
Okay, thank you.
And I had another question. Just give me one moment. Someone asked, what is the expected lifespan of new hearing aids? And really, hearing aids on average last about, I would say, anywhere from 3 to 7 years. For some people have used their own hearing aids for 8, 9, or even 10 years. But what I always tell new clients when they're coming in, that they typically last the lifetime of their warranty. For us at our clinic, most of the warranties, or most of the hearing aid warranties that people purchase, have a 3-year repair warranty and a 3-year loss and damage. And then more often than not, you're able to extend it through the manufacturer for another 2 years. And even after 5 years, so even after you go through the manufacturer warranty, there are third-party companies available where you can take out an additional warranty. So, for some people, they do have it the life of their warranty, because if it breaks or if it stops working and they can get it fixed at no cost to them, or for the small fee to extend the warranty, it's worth it. But typically when individuals run out of their warranty and then they're going to be spending several hundreds of dollars to fix an older device, they find that it's just worth it to put that money into getting newer amplification. And the reason why I say 3 years is that on the flip side, if you think about smartphones, there are some people who every 3 years, they just want to get the newest technology available. So it's really, partly your own personal preference. And a lot of it has to do with the hearing aid warranties in order to service the hearing aids.
Thank you. That was really informative. Okay, so now what I wanted to cover, and we want to make sure that you're aware of various devices that can keep you informed of alerts and notifications that might be happening, particularly in your home environment. Like if you have a hearing loss, it may be more difficult to hear the alarm to wake you up in the morning, or the fire alarm, or the doorbell. And there are many, many solutions out there. You'll see on the slide several images of different products that are available to enhance the sound, make it louder, make it a deeper tone if that maybe matches your need. And also there are ways to alert you if the doorbell is ringing or the phone is ringing visually. These devices get notified that the phone is ringing. You connect the device to the phone and then it will flash a strobe light. And that's another way for you to be alerted through making the sound louder, through visual, lighting, and also touch. Some of these products vibrate and will alert you by putting the product under your pillow. It will alert you that way, or even using a smartwatch can also vibrate with the notifications. So what I wanted to share, so all these products are available from different companies, and we will provide at the end of the presentation 3 different companies that we've used all the time and are comfortable with you exploring and purchasing products from them directly. I wanted to share that there are apps, there are features in smartphones that can make your environment more accessible to you. And for iPhones and Android phones, they both in the settings, in the accessibility settings of the smartphone, have a sound recognition capability. And for iPhones, it's called sound recognition. And for Android phones, it's called sound notification. And I encourage you to explore your smartphone, if you have one, in the settings, again, under accessibility, and then under hearing. And if you explore, you'll see on the slide here, is a list of all the different sounds that the phone can listen for. So it can listen for the fire alarm. It can listen for a dog barking. It can listen for a door knocking, and even water running. And you can decide as a user if you would like the phone to listen for that sound. And then once you make your selection, then you can also determine how would you like to be notified. Do you want it to send you a message on your phone? Do you want it to send a message to your smartwatch if you have a smartwatch? Do you want the phone to flash a strobe light? And this is a great way to stay informed of what's happening in your environment, especially if you do have hearing aids and you take out the hearing aids at night, or you're just taking a break, you don't want to keep them on while you're at home. It's a way to stay informed. So I encourage you to explore that. And it's free, it's part of the phone. The other thing I wanted to share is that there are many apps available now that can turn your smartphone into an alarm clock. And you can pair it with a product like this. It's similar to the one on this slide. It's wireless. And what I mean by pairing is there's a way to connect using the Bluetooth feature, the product to the phone. And what happens is when you set the alarm using the app on the phone, it will make this product vibrate. This you can charge it, and some of them also have batteries in them. And then you simply put this small product that I'm holding up, it's a round device. You can put it into your pillowcase or put it under your pillow, and it will vibrate to wake you up. So these are just some really great features out there that are available. You can also simply explore the alarm feature on your phone. If you go to the clock feature, and then you can set up alarm in the clock feature and make sure that your notifications are set up to vibrate. And then you could put the phone under your pillow. I know it's not highly recommended to do that, but that is one way that you could do it. Or the alert can be sent to a smartwatch. These products can also be purchased through the websites that we will share at the end of the session. I also wanted to share with you that there are a big pain point, and maybe this is your pain point for people with hearing loss, is hearing well on the phone or hearing the TV well. And Dr. Pladia had mentioned that there are accessories that can be used with hearing aids to make the phone and the TV more accessible and easier to hear. I also wanted to share that there are other solutions out there that could also be really helpful. So for the TV and the phone, we want to encourage you to explore captioning. And on the slide here, you'll see for the phone, there are a couple other companies as well that listed here that can provide real-time captioning as you're listening to the phone call. The captioning can be provided through a landline phone, like the one on the upper left side of the screen. And this phone can be set up in your home with one of the company's representatives. These phones more than likely need a high-speed internet connection for the captioning to work, but it's well worth it. People say that it really helped them become very independent with their phone calls, and they're able to connect again with family members and friends who they've not been able to hear well on the phone, because they're able to read the captions simultaneously as they're listening. And then if you have, you can speak for yourself on the phone. The captioning it's not provided for the person you're speaking with, it just provides the captioning for you on your end. And if you have a smartphone, these companies all have apps that can be downloaded on a smartphone or a tablet to make your phone calls through the app with captions. And then you can also explore captioning for the TV if you haven't already. And all TVs made after 1993 have a feature to turn on the captions. You just need to find the original remote for the TV. And tablets now also provide captioning as well. So explore in the settings to activate that. And finally, there are ways to improve the audio. Dr. Pladia had mentioned that if you have hearing aids, there are ways to have the sound from the phone or the TV sent wirelessly into the hearing aid. And I encourage you to work with your audiologist if you haven't explored that already, to figure out what works best with your amplification. But if you don't have hearing aids, or you do have hearing aids, but you just want a different type of solution, we have other ones on the slide here. There are adapters that can be plugged into the phone to enhance the audio and make the audio louder, and also sometimes a different tone to make it easier for you to hear. And there are also accessories available to also make the TV audio louder, either through an attached speaker. Like you'll see on the slide here, there are 2 different speakers available that can be attached to the phone, attached to the TV, and then you can put the speaker closer to you, because the goal is really to get the audio to be as close to you as possible to make it louder. People love this feature on the slide. The product on the slide is a headset. And this is the ability to wirelessly send the sound of the TV directly to a headset that's designed for people with hearing loss. And then it boosts the frequencies that will enhance your ability to understand speech better. And you can make it at any volume you want. And I know some individuals who have purchased multiple headsets for their family members or roommates, and everyone can listen to the audio at their preferred volume. So these products again are available as with some of the companies that we'll mention at the end of the presentation. Here are the 3 or 4 companies listed that can help you with captioning. So we recommend that you reach out to them. To get a phone for free, a landline phone for free, you would need to show them a documented hearing loss. So again, another reason to get your hearing tested, you would need to show that to them.
Carolyn, if I can just add into, typically, for individuals who are applying for this phone, they will just have their audiologist write a letter stating, that you have a hearing loss, and that typically suffices. So as Carolyn said, another reason to get a hearing test done. But your audiologist can certainly provide you with a letter to provide to these companies.
Yes, that's right. And so someone's asking if there are cordless caption phones. That's a really good question. Not that I am not aware of that. I think it's a landline phone or a smartphone device that you could then use in different rooms. Yeah, so I hope that answers that question. Okay, so now I just wanted to shift to hearing loss and enjoying the city. And now that life has really opened up and Broadway's back and shows are back and events are back, we wanted to share that there are some technology available in the theater environments to make it more accessible for people with hearing loss. And on the slide here, I wanted to point out 2 different technology options. On the bottom, there is a captioning app called Gala Pro. And I encourage you, before you attend any Broadway show, to look up the app and see if the show that you would like to see, primarily Broadway shows, but there may be some off-Broadway shows also, that will provide captioning while the show is going on through a smart device that either you bring with you, you bring your tablet or you bring your smartphone to the theater, and then you connect in the theater to their system. And then the spoken language from the play or the musical will show up on the screen, timed at the same time as the actors are producing the spoken language. You can also request a device that's provided by the theater, as well as called an iCaption device. And that's good for someone who maybe doesn't want to use their own smart device or doesn't have one. And you can simply, it's a small device that can be held in your hands and it has a screen on it. And that's how you can also view the captions for a show. I recently went to a show, I saw 6, I highly recommend it. And I used, to try it out, I used the handheld device that the theater provided and also my own smartphone device, and they both worked very well. The other thing I wanted to mention, if you don't know already, is that all of the Broadway theaters and I would say the majority of off-Broadway theaters and major auditoriums in New York City have listening devices, sort of like what's shown on the screen here. It's a headset, and it can be used with hearing aids or without. And I recommend that you explore this. Typically, you can get this near the manager help desk of a theater. And what I always do is reach out to either the theater or the provider of these devices in advance. And I'll look that up and put that in the chat. The contact is called Sound Associates. And you can reserve the product for you and they'll have it waiting for you when you arrive at the theater. Usually you just need to give them some ID in exchange, and then you bring it back at the end of the show. Okay, so the person's asking, does GalaPro work for sung lyrics? Yes, it does. It works with the lyrics. The best practice though is to give if it's a new show, we don't typically recommend going for the first couple of weeks, maybe 4 to 6 weeks. Give the app and the service a chance to really get the cadence down of when to match the lyrics to the written text to the actual spoken language. And someone had mentioned that some Broadway theaters are looped, and so are Lincoln Theater centers are also looped. And what that means is that hearing aids, many hearing aids, but not all, are equipped with something called a T-coil device feature. And it often needs to be activated by your audiologist. So you may have it in your hearing aid already, but it may just not be activated, if I'm right. Shelby,
yeah, the participant beat me to the punch. I was going to mention that hearing aids, many hearing aids are T-coil enabled. And Carolyn is correct that it more often than not has to be enabled by the audiologist. It's typically an additional program that we put into the hearing aid. And then when you're going to these environments, you may click a button, or if you're connected to your smartphone device, you may just have to access that program. and then it will loop into the T-coil as long as the theater is T-coil enabled. There are many different locations throughout New York City. Taxi cabs are T-coil enabled. So it's especially important that if you tend to find yourself in these environments often, that you bring that up to your audiologist, because if that's something that's important to you, you want to make sure that you are getting a hearing aid that is T-coil enabled, because not every device will have that ability. But yep, that's a great point.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing this from Arlene in the audience. Thank you, Arlene. She's also pointing out that many museum exhibits and airports also are looped. And what it means is that you do not need the headset that is being shown on the slide. If you have the hearing aids with the T-coil activated, it will simply pick up the audio from the sound system in the space and send it directly to the hearing aid. So people just love it, because it just makes the environment very accessible. You just walk in, turn on the T-coil feature, and then all of a sudden you're getting the audio directly from the speaker system of the space, or whoever's giving a speech or giving a talk will go directly into the hearing aids. So, and someone also mentioned as well that there are even some houses of worship that are looped as well throughout the city. So look into this. Okay. And I wanted to mention as well, we're just about done with our talk, that even movie theaters are accessible for people with hearing loss through captions that are available by using a rear view captioning device that is shown on the slide here, where you need to find typically the manager's desk or the manager's office of a theater. That's where they hold onto these handheld device products that need to be borrowed for the movie session. You bring it to your seat. Usually it has like a place to plug it into the cup holder, and then you can view the captions. And there are also captioning glasses available. Each theater has different ones, and more typically, like the larger theaters like AMC and Regal have them. And also some other smaller theaters in the city like Angelica have them as well. The exciting news is that starting May 15th, all movie theaters are going to be required to provide 25% of their showings with something called open captions. And what that means is that the captioning will be displayed directly on the screen of the viewing, as opposed to having to use one of these handheld devices or the glasses. And that's just going to be amazing, because it will you won't have to find the office of the movie theater to get the device. And sometimes people don't find that they work as well as they really should, or it's very uncomfortable to wear the glasses, especially if you already have glasses. It's a lot. So that's very, very exciting. So more to come there. And I wanted to mention that all of these theaters also should have ready for you a listening device, like a headset, as you see here on the slide, for you to borrow as well. And the headsets are often T-coil enabled as well. So what that means is you activate the T-coil, if you wear the headset or you have it near you, it will send the audio directly into the hearing aids to improve your listening. That's great. And thank you so much. Someone had mentioned that AMC theaters around the country do list whether or not they have open caption viewings for that day. So take a look for that. And someone just said, wow, this is very good technology. This is all part of equality. And that's right. And I hope that now that you've learned some of this new information, please spread it to others, because not everybody knows about it. And there are a lot of advocates that are doing great work to make this happen, make this available for all of us. Okay. These are some of the resources that could be useful. Our own website, we have a guide for getting the most out of New York City with a hearing loss. That's a digital guide with a lot of the tips that we shared today, as well as a page on assistive listening devices. We highly recommend HLAA, which is the Hearing Loss Association of America's New York chapter. It's a very strong group. If you live in the city, there are also chapters outside of New York City, such as New Jersey, that do terrific programming and also provide a peer group for people with hearing loss to connect, share information, and get support. And these are the 3 companies of different websites, as well as Amazon too, but these are companies that are really set up to help individuals with a hearing loss or deafness to find the products that would work best with your existing phone or TV. So we highly recommend that you look into that, okay? I think that's what we wanted to share, and then just our contact information. Please reach out to Dr. Palladia or myself with any questions that you might have, and we hope that we can continue to be a resource for you.